So I consider the Stinger to be a multi-role recon mech. And for certain missions, or I should say unknown missions where you don't really know what you're going to face or what opportunities you're going to have on the table, I think for the battle value, this mech has the potential to bring a lot of tactica to the table. And that's what I want to share with you in this podcast, looking at some of the ways that I utilize the Stinger and why I would take this mech over a Jenner, over a Locust, or even one of my favorite light mechs, a Thorn. A lot depends on the mission structure that you play. Do you know what you're going to be facing ahead of time? Or is it build a lance at X number of points? We don't really know the terrain, and we're going to roll for the mission, or we're going to roll and see what we're up against. I find that when there are a lot of unknowns, the Stinger plugs that gap really, really well. First, it has speed. Well, we would say every light mech needs to have speed because we don't have the armor. That's what's going to protect it. It's going to get us in and out. We're going to try and stack up the movement modifiers on there. But likewise with the light mech, it's not only running from danger, but it's being able to accomplish mission perspectives or mission goals when your mediums or even heavies are incapable of doing that. Because in Battletech, I define this as once we hit danger close, once elements of my lance and your lance or our units make contact. I'm not talking about long range. I fire off some LRMs, or now we're kind of moving into medium range, so I'll cook off maybe 2 PPCs instead of 1 because the odds are kind of better that I'm going to hit. I'm talking about we are 3, 4, 5, 6 hexes away tops. And now we're bringing to bear short-range missiles, multiple medium lasers. At this point, when you've made that contact, it's difficult. It's challenging to pull away. It's challenging to break off, because if I break off, you will be able to move. If I backpedal, you'll be able to move closer, faster, based on the movement rules, than I can move backwards on there. I certainly don't want to turn and run and expose side or rear armor. So we really have to see, when you commit, you are committed. A light mech doesn't play by any of those rules. A light mech can commit if you want to. If you get cornered, if you get stuck, if you get in that danger close situation, it can run away. So speed is very, very important. The Stinger has that. Jump jets, also very important on a light mech because we want to take the mobility and enhance it even further. Well, okay, this mech has that. Hands. Yes, physical hands, not for the physical attacks, even though I'm a massive fan of that. But for a recon mech, I believe its success comes on speed, jump capability, decent battle value, not that expensive. I'm trying to save the points on there. But the ability to manipulate objects. Maybe it's a mission where I have to run in and steal something from your supply depot. Maybe I need to pick up a vehicle. Forget searching the vehicle. I'll just pick it up and run with it. So having 2 hands is very, very helpful and works out from that perspective. The weapons loadout as a recon mech, and I want to contrast this a little bit with the Thorn, which is another favorite mech of mine. I consider that a skirmish type mech. That's not to say I can't push it into a recon role, but it's not a multi-role recon mech. The Thorn, okay, I have 1 hand, but I have an LRM 5-pack, so I want to utilize my speed staying at a distance, fire off the long-range missiles. Not that they're going to do a ton of damage, but it's harassment. I find the Thorn works great in city tech environments, city fight environments where I'm on the outskirts of the city, and we have these long lanes of fire potentially down. So as my main lance pushes in and my opponent is 2 or 3 ranks behind in buildings, I can run the Thorn up on the flanks and at least fire down a couple of missiles on there. That is more of a skirmish type role. The Stinger, with the medium laser, with the machine guns, this allows it to engage, in my opinion, the type of stuff that you are going to find defending a base. Often what we'll do is we'll park maybe some LRM carriers. We'll park some vehicles in there. We will definitely stock a base with infantry, because for the battle value, infantry are amazing in terms of defense. For what they cost, you put them in a hardened structure, you put them in a building. Maybe you take one LRM group, or then you take a laser or SRM group, And unless you have flamers or machine guns, they're going to be pretty hard to dig out. And again, for the battle value, they put out amazing damage on there. Not to mention if you're moving into a base to try and recon and take something over, the infantry can make leg attacks and swarm and do all that type of stuff. The machine guns are beast. 2 machine guns will make quick work of a lot of infantry, so it'll allow you to get in there, engage the infantry. And the medium laser, I find, puts out enough damage. I mean, certainly only having 1 medium laser is essentially a pop gun. It doesn't have the redundancy. It doesn't have the range. But the Stinger's not mounting the armor, the battle value armor, to do that. But that medium laser is decent against the type of vehicles that you will encounter defending a base, defending a recon point on there, defending an outpost, especially if you have the speed, which you do, to get rear or side shots to go where the armor's less, or attack motive hits. It gives you a decent chance as you're on your way in. So from that perspective, I find that the Stinger, and we could say its counterpart, the Wasp, works really, really well. As a dedicated multi-role, I'm going to need some sort of recon element, but I don't know quite what. Contrast that with the Jenner, which arguably we could say is one of the finest light mechs in the game. Tremendous speed, decent armor, very, very maneuverability, a lot of weapons. I mean, you look at the weapons output on the Jenner, not that you want to engage a medium mech, but you have options to engage a medium mech, especially if you can get the jump on it. It can really put out the hurt. But where it lacks, it has no manipulation with hands. It has no way to reliably engage infantry. Now, vehicles, it certainly can engage with the multiple medium lasers and the SRMs, but without machine guns, it makes it a little bit hard. Contrast that with the Locust. I love the Locust. I love running Locust mechs, mainly for the lulls when you get beaten down by a Locust. I mean, that's when you become the dispossessed. It's one thing where it's like, look, I lost my mech because I was taking on 2 Zeuses and a Battle Master, and I was holding my own, and I took out at least I took out one of those Battle Masters before I went down. That at least gives you some sympathy. That at least gets you to the front of the line in terms of salvage to get back in a mech. You lose your mech to a Locust, that's just a no-go on there. So certainly the Locust has the speed. Certainly the Locust has stock Locust, not a variant, has the same configuration as the Stinger. It's got the 2 machine guns. It has the medium laser, but it doesn't have the jump capability, and more importantly, it doesn't have the hands. That's really, really key, and you don't realize that in a light mech there are many, many opportunities to utilize hands to manipulate, even if it's just picking up some sort of battle club and trying to magnify the lower tonnage that you have to kind of focus it on there, turn it into like a mini hatchet man. So many things that you can do from that perspective. So for your Lance, my opinion, you need a recon mech. You want to keep the battle value down. You're not really sure how to fill that out in your collection. The Stinger is one of those mechs that physically the model in your collection you are always going to utilize. And I feel like you can never go wrong including it, and you will always have a role for it in your games.